First off, thank you for participating in the poll I did because I want to hear what you want to talk about. So there were actually three ties for the top topics, and this was one of them. So we're going to talk today about how if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And we're going to do, some of it's going to be kind of nitty gritty, but most of it's just going to be overview of why this is so important, because I think it's something we're not doing as much as we should. Italy turned me upside down. That might be what happened. That might totally be what happened. Okay, so listen, here's the question. What do you want to achieve in life? Okay, that's the number one question, because that's going to drive this whole thing. And if you're like most people, there's a lot of things that probably drive you. I mean, you want to be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to make more money, lose weight, travel, whatever. But the big question is, do you have a plan in place to achieve all those goals? Because most people don't. Planning is like building the roadmap to get you from point A to point B. And if you're going to go somewhere without a roadmap, obviously days before GPS, you're just going to drive around aimlessly and you're never going to get there. So it's very important, if you want to achieve your goals, to have a plan in place. Like, for instance, if traveling is one of your goals and you really want to travel, but you don't ever have a plan in place, but you just say, oh, I really want to go to Italy someday. And that's all you do, is just keep saying how you really want to go to Italy someday. What are the odds it's ever going to happen? As opposed to somebody who says, I really want to go to Italy. Why don't we make a plan to do that 2 years from now? So let's put it on our calendars, let's block it off, and let's see, it's going to cost this much money, so let's put away this much money every week so that we have enough money for the trip. Which person is more likely to ever get to Italy, okay? Not the person who just sits and talks about it, but the person who makes a plan to do it. I mean, think about this. If you're getting married, you plan a wedding. If you're having a party, you plan an event, obviously. You don't just have a wedding and hope people show up and if anybody does, like, oh, I guess we need food, let's order pizza. I mean, obviously, you know how silly that is. But why don't we do that with our lives and with the things that are so important to us, okay? So this is where this is all coming from, and helping you realize how important this is. A lot of people neglect to plan, but then they get all discouraged and disappointed when life doesn't go the way they want. Life is not ever going to just happen to you. And the things you want in life are never going to just drop in your lap without you making a plan to get to them. And the good news is, like, it doesn't take a lot. Any of us can take time and put a plan in place and achieve our goals. But I think that it's likely that the reason a lot of you don't plan more is that planning takes time. And I know that time is at a minimum for all of us. We're all struggling all the time to find more time to do things, right? But if you don't take the time to do it, you're never going to get there. And here's the thing. The idea is, you can't make money to spend money, right? You've all heard that. Same thing with a plan and time. If you want to make time, you've got to spend time, because spending time putting a plan together will give you more time in the end. So you've got to be willing to take the time you need to take so that you can end up having more time later. And here's a good illustration. Suppose one of your big goals is to be healthy and to really eat healthy and live a healthy lifestyle. Well, how much more effective is it going to be if you take some time on the weekend to do meal prep, to do meal planning first? Plan your meals for the whole week. And there's some gals on here, I don't know if they're on here yet, but that I know do that. And I know the weeks they do that are way better weeks than the weeks that they don't. So if you make a meal plan for the week, takes extra time, granted, and then you sit down and you make a shopping list from that meal plan. Takes a little extra time, right? But what happens when you go to the grocery store? You're going to zip through the store because you've got a list and you're just going to check off everything on that list, and you're done and you're out of there. And guess what? The whole week is going to go seamlessly because you bought everything you needed to make every one of those meals that you planned for the whole week. And when Monday night comes, you don't have to get ready to do dinner and think, oh, what am I going to make tonight? It's already decided. Look at the list, pull out the stuff, and make it. And if you take extra time during the weekend to prep, to get some of your vegetables prepped and maybe throw some crock pot meals together, it's that much easier yet. So right on a daily basis, do you see the time that saves you? As opposed to the person who didn't have the plan and they go to the grocery store and they're just meandering up and down the aisles, and hey, that would be good this week, and hey, wow, let's try that, and they get this and they get that, and it takes them twice as long to shop because they don't have focus on what they need to get in and get out. But then the week comes, and by Tuesday, good job, Teresa. But then the week comes and it's Tuesday night and they don't know what to make. Like, crap, what am I going to make tonight? Oh, well, you know what? I grabbed this. So they pull it out. But they don't have all the ingredients to make that meal. So yeah, that's not going to work. The time you spend trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do, and sometimes don't you just give up and just tell the kids to grab a bowl of cereal or order a pizza? So number one, you've wasted all that extra time that I don't have to tell you, you don't have to waste. But number two, did it move you any closer to your goal? Totally didn't. So you're just like shooting yourself in the foot in both ways. So that's the biggest reason to take the time to plan, is that it will give you more time in the long run. Denise says, yeah, Denise works 50 to 60 hours. So Denise, it must be really hard sometimes to think about taking the extra time to plan, but believe me, it will save you so much time in the long run. And again, the results are going to be that you're going to be moving closer to your goal. So it's so important. When you realize that, when you really get it, you will take the time that you need to take to make the plan. Now listen, here are some of the advantages to really taking time to make a plan for your life. Number one, if you're really making a plan, you're really sitting down, like, what do I want in life? What's important to me? And I'm not talking just business. I mean, we're female entrepreneurs, but this applies to your relationships. It applies to your health, which with those three things is everything in life. So in all those cases, you're going to be really detailing exactly what you want out of life. So it's really going to be showing you what's important to you. That's huge. Hey, Bunny and Denise, I know it's exhausting, but Denise, it's going to make you less exhausted later, guaranteed. So you're doing this, and like I said, planning gives you the roadmap to get there. But it's not just the roadmap. When you have a roadmap and you're going on a trip, and say I'm going to Philadelphia, not only if I follow the roadmap I have, I'm going to get there. But the other thing that does for me is it makes it measurable. Once I get to King of Prussia, I know I'm halfway there and I know exactly how far I have to go. So it makes it very measurable too. So when you're following your roadmap, you know how close you're getting to your goal, which is really helpful. Now, the other thing is, boy, we're really staying with the car analogy, puts you back in the driver's seat. Having a plan puts you in control, because you're not just sitting around waiting for life to randomly happen to you. You are in control of what you're doing and where you're going. So it gives you back control, and that's what this group's all about. Lady Bosses is becoming the boss in your life again and taking back the control. So that's important. Here's a really big one, guys. And this one I'm going to spend a minute on. But remember, a few weeks ago, we talked about whether or not you used a digital planner or a paper planner. And I would guess that, when you talk about things like that, if you're not already using a planner, you probably get all excited about it and you might go buy one. But how many people go and buy one and then they're still sitting on their desk and they haven't started using them yet? Okay? Here's an important thing about having a plan. And I'm talking about a day-to-day plan in your planner. If I asked any of you now, do you know exactly what you're doing for every minute of the day for the rest of the week, for the most part, where you actually have free time and where you really have time blocked off to get things done that are important? Because if you're planning your week the way you should know exactly what's going on every day. And here's why doing that is going to really help you with balance in your life. We're women, and I think this applies to women more than men, but we all know how hard it is to say no, okay? Well, if somebody asked you, like, hey, this weekend we're having a designer purse bingo. Do you have like 4 hours to come and help us out? Well, if you know Johnny has a soccer game, then it's really easy to say, I can't because I've got to take Johnny to soccer, right? But if Johnny doesn't have a soccer game and you don't have a clear plan, then it becomes really hard to say no, especially if you know it's a good cause and it's a friend asking you. Well, here's the difference. If you have a good plan defined and say your weekend has some time blocks to work on some important projects for your business, or maybe you have a 2-hour time block on Saturday afternoon that you're going to work on decluttering your closet. you need to treat those time blocks with as much respect as you treat an appointment or Johnny's soccer game. You can't just ignore that and just randomly say yes to everything, because you're not going to have any balance in your life, and you're not going to be doing things that support the things you want the most in life. See, that's why making the plan is really helpful to help you define what's really important to you. But then it helps you to really be able to stick to it, because then you can say, I'm really sorry, but my calendar, I can't do it Saturday. I have another obligation. And your obligation to yourself is as important as your obligation to everyone else. We need to have integrity with ourselves. And I think lots of times we don't, because we're just giving all the time and we're doing for others all the time. So have that same integrity with yourself. Honor the commitments you made to do things that are important to you and your family and for your health and for your business. And it will be easier to say no. So isn't that important? Because I know how hard it is for most of you to say no. Planning will make it easier. The other thing planning does is it makes your dreams more attainable. Because again, the roadmap thing, if I'm sitting in Pottstown and Philadelphia seems so far away and I feel like I'm never going to get there, if I have a plan, it's going to make it seem more realistic, because like, oh, this is all I have to do and I'll be there in 45 minutes. Having a plan is going to make your dreams seem more possible. If your dreams feel like they're unattainable and you can never reach them, it's probably because you never put a plan in place to do that. Because once you have a plan and you're on that road, it's going to feel like, wow, this could really happen. And this is really awesome. I was listening to an Ed Mylett podcast yesterday, and he sets a timer to go off every single hour of the day. And every time that timer goes off, all it is a quick trigger for him to think, okay, what did I do this past hour? Did I stay on my roadmap? Did I stay on my plan? Or did going to the kitchen to grab a cup of coffee and then sitting down to watch TV, did I just lose an hour, like just wasting time? Okay? And I thought that was such a good idea, because you need to measure, you need to really be paying attention. Am I staying on course? If I'm driving to Philly and I see an exit for Collegeville and like, oh, let me go check out some stores in, in the Providence town, or what I think that's what it's called. It's not getting me any closer to Philly, and it's totally blowing time that I don't have to blow. Okay. So again, it makes your dreams feel more attainable when you can stay on that path, whether it's a diet you're on and like, oh, I'm just going to cheat this weekend, and I'll get back on Monday. Well, you're getting off and going to Collegeville. You're not getting any closer to Philly. And it's going to take you twice as long to get to Philly. So stay the course. Stay on that road and you'll get to your goal a whole lot quicker. Now, another big thing is that having a plan gives you a sense of purpose. Because every day when you wake up, you know what you have to do. You know what things are important. And you're going to stay on that road, whether it's in, again, I'm not just talking work. I'm talking your relationships, your health. And what is a life without purpose? You don't want to go through life just feeling like you're existing. You want to feel like you have a reason to get up, and you want to live purposefully. And having a plan in place that's going to help you reach your goals is going to make you feel like that. A plan is going to help you have a sense of peace. You're not going to be worried about every decision you make. Like, am I doing the right thing? No, you'll know you're doing the right thing because you're following your plan. And this is the plan that's going to lead you to the life you're looking for, to your better relationships, whether it's maybe you have to have a plan to have a date night every week, but you're going to make that plan. You're going to do it because you wrote it down, and you're going to honor it, and you're going to have integrity with yourself. Well, when you get up, it's going to make you feel peaceful and feel happy because you're moving forward with the things that are important. And my final thought is that, again, in this whole idea of having a purposeful life, a plan is going to help you when you get to the end of your life to not look back and think, what if? What if I had done this? What if I had done that? I blew so much of my life by not focusing on the things that are important, but a plan helps you focus on the things that are important. I mean, you know what you want your life to look like. You have an idea what you'd love your business to look like, and what you'd love your family and your relationships to look like, and your health. Well, if you don't have a plan, then how important are those things really? Okay, my favorite saying right now that I heard a few months ago probably is, what you're not changing you're choosing. Okay, if your business isn't growing, if your relationships are in the toilet, if your health is just like totally a mess, then what you're not changing, you're choosing. You can make a plan and make those things different. If you're not making them different, how important were they in the first place? So it's a lot to think about, but it's life. It's, you want your life to have meaning. You want it to be purposeful. This is really important. And my husband and I used to ride the motorcycle a lot. And one of the big phrases, if you're a biker, is, if Melissa is still here, she knows, is it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And ladies, life, that's life. You know, at the end of your life, you're not going to be laying on your deathbed saying, yes, I lived my life and I hit that 7-figure income. It's not about just getting to the destination. It's about every single day. If every single day you're waking up and you've got purpose and you know you're doing the things that are supporting the things that are the most important in your life, then every single day of your life is going to be a day of no regrets. Nobody wants to look back and regret. So it's not that we're not going to make mistakes, because of course we are, but you learn from them, but you're not going to have regrets, and that's huge. So you want to have a life like that without regret. You want to move toward your goals. Just have a plan. I mean, it sounds simple, and it is simple, but like buying the planner, you can buy the planner and get all excited about it, but if you don't do it, then it's a total waste. So I know, isn't that a great quote? So ladies, anything special that you feel like you don't have control of, that you need to make a better plan for? Like, what are some of your real pain points when it comes to not planning? I'd love to hear some of your ideas. I love hearing from you guys. I saw there was something here from Bunny. Bunny, if I want to go 500 miles in 10 days, how many miles will I plan to go per day? Should build in one extra day in case stuff comes up. Applies to all areas of my life to accomplish those things which really matter in the scheme of it all. That is so true. Yeah, I mean, goals have to be realistic. 500 miles in 10 days, that's probably not possible. Unless you're driving. I'm thinking you're running, but if you're driving, but whatever you're doing. But yeah, listen, you know, when you set your goals too, you can't be so rigid with your time that you like never have time for a blip or never have time off. Like when I set my goals, and we're doing a group thing right now with our health coaches called, we're based on the book, The 12-Week Year, and we're setting goals. But the goals we're setting, it's not like I'm saying, I'm going to walk 30 minutes every day of the week. Because you know what? I'm never going to be able to do that every day of the week. But you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to do it at least 5 days a week. Because there are going to be hiccups, or there might be a day you don't feel well, or a day that you're running 50 million errands and you can't find time to walk. So yeah, you've got to give yourself some time, Bunny, in case stuff comes up. So you can't be unrealistic. But where you can, like, really build a detailed plan together so that you can accomplish as much as you can. Let's see what else. Angela, Denise didn't handle maintenance properly. I'm assuming Denise means, because I know Denise does the weight loss program that I coach, and after you lose the weight, do you keep it off? You know, that's where the discipline starts, and the plan. You have to have a plan in place for your health too, because you don't just not have a plan and just be all willy-nilly about it and expect that you're going to be healthy. You're not going to just be healthy if you're just like, oh, let me grab a burger today and let me do this, and you're not going to exercise, you're not going to drink your water. You've got to be mindful. This all comes down to mindfulness too. Angela, organization, that's a big one. That's a big one. And listen, organization, that can be so overwhelming for people. I know Faith, check out Faith LaRosse, because she's doing some stuff on helping people get organized, and you could reach out to her too. But sometimes it's overwhelming because you have so much you have to do. And I was talking to somebody the other week who had a lot of paperwork she had to organize. And what I suggested to her was take that whole pile of paperwork and just like put it away, put it out of sight. Starting today, when these papers cross your desk, immediately deal with them and put them where they need to go. And then later, as you get time, tackle that pile a little at a time, but put it out of your sight so it doesn't give you that overwhelming feeling, because that will cripple you to do anything. You're just going to want to throw more on the pile. And gosh, my daughter is a perfect example of that. My daughter, when she was young, was very severe OCD. Like, we had to go into therapy and talk about it. But it was funny. She before she'd go to bed every night, she would spend a half an hour looking in every drawer and through her closet to make sure nothing had moved and her hangers were an inch apart. I mean, it was that extreme. But then there'd be days where, for whatever reason, she would just start throwing stuff on the floor. And when she lost control of her organization, then she just kept throwing more on the pile. And I think that happens to all of us. If you're working in a clear space, it's much easier to keep it clear throughout the time you're working and take things and put them right away, because it's a lot easier to add to a pile than to start a pile brand new. Does that make sense? So if you get into an organized frame of mind and you decide, I'm going to work in an organized workspace, and if I have this piece of paper, I'm not just going to throw it somewhere, I'm going to just right away put it away. At least deal with things going forward, you know, and then the stuff behind, deal with that later. Bunny wants to sell everything she owns to travel internationally. Boy, I can understand that. I love that. Colleen uses Sunday as her day to map out her week. That's what I do too, Colleen. I map out my whole week, and I do have time. See, that's the point. If you take time to plan your week and plan it really well, you will see that there are plenty of spots to have some spontaneity and some flexibility, and to say yes to the designer purse bingo if it's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything Sunday and I would love to help you do that. But you're not going to know that if you don't make a plan. But if you make a plan, you know you're going to have time to focus on the things that are most important. Make that realistic. You need to plan a huge house sale. That's awesome, buddy. We need to declutter. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. See, Amy does the meal planning. I know she's done that before and has so much success when she does it. But yeah, when things happen, it can throw everything off. So you know what? You have to figure out how to build that into the plan too somehow. That, look, if things go really crazy, what are we going to have that's just going to be a grab and go, or just something? What are we going to do, you know, to deal with those times? Baby steps, Darlene. That is so perfect, because you know you're never going to accomplish anything by just doing a couple big things. If you want to accomplish anything, it's by doing something little, but doing it consistently. Just don't ever stop. Don't deviate from that road. Help, it's going to be, Darlene. If you don't have time to do it now, how will you have time later? You want to hear? Okay, when I worked in corporate America, I was in chemical manufacturing. And a lot of what I did was involved in quality control. And one of the sayings we had was, you don't have time to do it right, but you're going to find time to do it over. Think about that, because that's really, I think that's like what Faith is saying too. You have to make time to do it now, because if you don't do it now or you don't do it right, you're going to need more time later than you would have to do it right now. Does that make sense? Like filing, like I'm talking about, okay, keeping a clear desk. If you have a piece of paper to put away, put it right away where it belongs, because you know why that's going to save you time later? Is because if you just start making a pile on your desk, okay, it's not going to take any longer to file that than it would be to do it as it comes across your desk. But if you need something, and every time you need something, you got to go through that pile to look for it, how big a time waster is that? So finding time to do stuff now is going to save you a whole lot of time later. Okay. All right, ladies. Oh, you're awesome. Thanks for the interaction. Yeah, we're right near the end. But yeah, so guilty of the piles to pile. And Barb, the neat thing is, you know, really take a look at what you're filing. I was talking to a girlfriend the other week, and she was telling me she was going to go out and buy a 3-drawer file cabinet just for her personal stuff. And I said, how much personal stuff do you file? Because I've got a 2-drawer file cabinet. 1 drawer is for my husband's business, and the bottom drawer, I bet 12 inches of it is my personal stuff. Now, that doesn't include like tax returns. I have them in another box somewhere else, but my personal stuff. I said, why in the world do you need a 3-drawer file cabinet? Well, she saves every bill after she's paid it. And think about the things you have in your file pile, and think about how much of it's really important and how much can be thrown away. You don't need 2 years worth of electric bills. You don't need last month's electric bill. If you need to see it for any reason, guess what? You can get it online. You can call your electric company and get a copy. But how often does that happen? So the stuff you have to file, how much of it do you even need to keep? Okay, start thinking that way, and maybe that pile won't grow so much in the first place. And Denise, why do you think it's harder to start playing over after you have gained some weight back? Denise, we should go offline and talk about this because lots of ways to skin that cat. And I'd love to talk to you about it. I've done trainings on the maintenance, on keeping your weight off after you've lost it. And I'm going to have a surprise workshop coming up on that down the line. But reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more about that off the camera. Okay, hi Amira, you just came and we're getting ready to leave. But listen, I hope if you came in late, you'll watch the recording, let me know. And again, I'd love you to invite your friends. I love your input. I'm so happy that you guys are choosing the topics that you want to hear about, because I'm going to do the top 3 that tied. And then after that, I'll run a poll again and see what you want to talk about. But thanks for being here. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Okay, ladies, have a good one. Bye.